We are going to talk about a landmark work in cyberpunk. It is a highly influential, iconic manga that is a pioneer in the Japanese cyberpunk genre, and it has a movie adaptation that revolutionized anime with its groundbreaking animation techniques and powerful scenes that stick with you forever. I'm talking about Akira by Katsuhiro Otomo. Last month, I completed all 6 volumes of this legendary manga, and today I'm going to tell you why I think you should read it with this rapid review. So this classic science fiction / cyberpunk masterpiece was first published from 1982 to 1990, and it still holds up. The art is amazing, and there's only a couple things that really date it at all. It's also one of the first mangas to be translated to English, and it was a huge hit, increasing the popularity of manga in the US and France especially. This series is set in post-war Japan, and they are 30 years removed from a nuclear explosion that destroyed Tokyo and started World War III. They've rebuilt it to be Neo-Tokyo, and they're set to host the Olympic Games, but there's a lot of unrest among the populace, and there's anti-government violence and gang violence. And we mainly follow a cast that is pulled from a teenage biker gang, a militant group called the Resistance, and the Japanese military. Early on, one of our characters from the biker gang, Tetsuo, awakens to his psychic powers, which catches the attention of the military. He becomes increasingly unhinged as his powers increase, and there's concern that he has a connection to this mysterious Akira entity that has the power to destroy the world. Tetsuo embodies this image of a tormented telekinetic psychopath, while his friend and rival Kaneda and his red jacket and legendary souped-up motorcycle is this impulsive, charismatic anti-hero. In their relationship, this conflict helps drive the story and can be heartbreaking and really deep at times. My only issue with this series is I wish in the middle volumes we spent some time on backstory to really flesh out the various character motivations, and we do get a touch of that later on, and those glimpses were super impactful and were unleashed at just the right moment. So maybe I'm like nitpicking here, but this is where if I were to compare it to something like Tokyo Ghoul that did this part so well for multiple characters, that Akira does fall a little short, but I think we still got a great villain and protagonist and some interesting side characters. I've read some interviews from Katsuhiro Otomo, and he mentioned how he crafted it to have speed and flow, editing the dialogue down as much as possible to tell this drawn-out story, but to keep this energy about it. And he really succeeds here. Unless you're slowing down to really examine the art, and I wouldn't blame you for that, you can fly through these. There is a clarity to the drawings, even in these big set pieces where there's like heads popping and explosions and crumbling buildings everywhere, and multiple characters are interacting in these scenes, but I never felt lost. He also knows how to make us slow down or completely hit the brakes to appreciate and soak in the big, impactful moments, of which there are plenty. I mean, my eyebrows were through the roof for almost the entirety of Volume 6, and I stopped multiple times to take a beat and process my thoughts. In addition to that, the character designs are excellent. The background renderings are detailed and amazing, and that helps this classic hold up over time. And the themes we explore are fascinating. It's also interesting how different cultures pull different themes from it. For instance, Otomo said that he wanted to depict the post-war period for Japan, the rapid economic growth and the student unrest of the 60s. But he says the Western interpretations of it being a depiction of his political concerns surrounding nuclear power wasn't his intention at all. And I found this really interesting. There's this theme in Japanese entertainment that centers around catastrophes having this restorative effect, right? Essentially correcting the mistakes of the past through destruction, something that Otomo refers to as utopia within the apocalypse. And that's a very cultural specific thing to Japan. So that's so inherent within him that even that wasn't something that he specifically wanted to explore in Akira, but it just came out in the development of this subconsciously. I could go on about the theories and themes around it, but I mentioned the movie earlier, and if you've watched that and you're wondering about the differences, the movie released before the conclusion of the manga, and the movie almost feels like a different story. It's definitely condensed, and there's all these threads that we get in the manga that diverge or expanded upon from the movie plot. For instance, we get more of the biker gang, the clowns. We get more of the resistance. We get more of the religious aspect with Lady Miyako and the Espers. That said, for a film from 1988 to hold up as well as it does is amazing. It had a super healthy budget, and also one of the key animators would go on to be the lead animator for Studio Ghibli, where she worked on things like Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, and so on. The film is stunning 37 years later, so check it out if you haven't. In summation, I would recommend this to manga fans of all types, and also to those who are curious and possibly interested in an introduction to the genre. And if you really want to go for glory, this freaking box set, I mean, I've been showing off the covers for these, but the 35th anniversary edition box set and their covers are absolutely stunning. It doesn't get any better than these, in my opinion. So that's my review of the Akira manga with some thoughts on the film as well. Thank you for hearing me out. I hope you love it like I did. I'll see you on the next one. Appreciate y'all.